Hi, it's Detangler with your Daily Detangler, and I want to talk to you about working outside in. So, when I put this orchestration orb up, I want you to put yourself on the slide, anywhere on the slide. Uh, where would you place yourself on this slide? Some of us would place ourselves inside of it. The interesting thing about being inside this is you end up thinking about what people should be doing, what information people should have, the process people should be following, and the technology that people should be using. In other words, it's really easy to assume a lot of things when you put yourself in the orb. Others of you, when I ask you the question, may have put yourself outside the orb and be curious about what's happening inside of it. These are two different lenses. One is inside out. I'm in the orb. I'm going to assume that everybody knows everything because I know what's going on. And then there's outside the orb, which is how would I ask questions to understand what's going on in the orchestration that people are trying to do. I call that working outside in. So we're going to explore working outside in here in this detangler. How is it working now? Well, areas in which it's working are people are checking their biases, they're verifying meaning, and they're focusing on knowing and doing. What do I mean by that? Let's talk about it. Well, in our webinar, Catalyst is talking about and using the Mark Twain quote, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. That's a part of checking your bias. Suspending what you think you know about something and being curious. For example, remember back when you first heard these concepts or when you first heard about go to customer, or perhaps you engaged in an outcome-focused meeting and how different that was, and what happened to you when you were asked to push yourself and maybe be more customer-centric, and how did that make you feel? Asking yourself and putting yourself in their people's shoes around the radical nature of the change that we're driving as change agents. For example, why don't people know X? Well, there's a reason why they don't know X. They've never been exposed to it before. Or what about how come they're not doing Y? Well, because they don't know, right? So it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. For example, our customers' annual planning process. Here we have two silos. What happens in the annual planning process? Everybody gets together at the executive level, the money cascades, everybody defines goals, and it happens on an annual basis. And hopefully people coordinate. Well, where's the customer in this? Where's the customer? That would be an outside-in planning process. What's the impact to our customer? Try asking that question in an annual planning process and watch the friction that would happen. The second example, initiatives. Let's run initiatives. Product launches, get everybody together. We need to hand off stuff to each other. We need to get stuff done. Go, 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 do. Product launch, or new hire training. Let's do our silos within the silos. Everybody hand off. We're going to call that collaboration, and we're going to work here. And we have meetings that report status, and we have other meetings that get stuff done. But where's the customer in that? I've actually brought and tried to bring the customer into these conversations. I used to make fun of that. People would make fun of me because I would take a paper plate and I'd draw a smiley face on it, and I'd put the paper plate in a chair and say, there's our customer. And people thought that was funny because it made them uncomfortable. And just the concept of the customer in the room puts people on edge when they're trying to figure out their value to the customer in a product launch. Believe it or not, that's not natural for people. And that's an example of outside in versus inside out. Here's another thing that works for people. It's verifying meaning. I think Catalyst is really good at this. Perhaps you've been in those conversations. These rows in this table represent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers of depth around the concept of a plan, value, the word platform, process, outcome. There's 6 layers of specificity here. I'm not going to fill all these in, but the first layer is easy. Everybody's going to say they have a plan. Everybody's going to say that they understand what value is. Everybody's going to say they understand the platform. It's the specifics, though, that get people into a different spot, especially when you're thinking about outside in versus inside out. And it gets to the essence of, do people really know their customers? I've shared this story before, but if you take away a customer's view, from a salesperson, it becomes interesting. They think they know the customer. And if you take it away by saying, look, I want you to talk about your customer without ever mentioning your product, your technology, your platform, or yourself. And I want you to talk 2 minutes, but you can't talk about yourself, your company, or your product. Go. Most salespeople have never been equipped to have that conversation. They cannot go 2 minutes. They think they know their customers, and they will fight you and fight us that they do know their customers, but the devil's in the details, and that's why we have to verify meaning, and that's why Catalyst spends so much time on that. What does that look like? Find the customer. You say you know the customer, do it. Find Waldo. Waldo's your customer. Where's Waldo? Find your customer. Get it. Where is he? You got 2 minutes. Hurry up. Is it done yet? Have you forecasted it? Where do you think he is? Have you tried looking in patterns? Have you tried to use a microscope? How come you're not able to find Waldo yet? Are you even looking for Waldo? What are you doing all day? How come Waldo's not found? Did you forecast that you're going to find Waldo? How about coaching? Do you need coaching from your manager team? Did you look in the CRM? Did you read the thousands of pieces of content that you have available? How come you can't find Waldo yet? You say you know your customer, but where is he? Where is he? How come why hasn't he paid us if you know your customer? So that anxiety, that pressure, that stress makes people really, 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 really general in how they think they know their customer. And then they'll say we're customer focused. Look at all this stuff. But they can't explain who Waldo is or where Waldo is and how much Waldo money does Waldo have. They don't have a go to customer lens, a go to Waldo lens. They have a go to market. They can say, look, here's all our stuff. This is how busy we are. We're market focused, but they think they know the customer. So we're doing pretty good in the work we do to illuminate this, but there's a huge gap. And what is that gap? Well, between the normal and the new normal, there's a huge chasm. On March 15th, we burned the ships and we said we're going to customer. That's the new normal. There's a lot of detail on that. However, our customers and our prospects are still in the normal world. There's still companies right now today using last year's data to figure out what to do. There's a lot of challenges in working today. That's what we need to focus on, and that's where the specifics matter, the specifics of knowing and doing. For example, knowing what to do, knowing who's doing it, knowing where to do something, how to do something, when to do something, why to do something. If I had 10 people and I was asking these knowing questions, knowing what? Do you know what to do? Do you know when to do it? Do you know why we're doing it? Do you know where to go? Do you know who to turn to? We'd get 10 different answers today. The whole world is turned upside down. So in that view, a lot of our customers are just going to revert back to what they've already known. And they're going to be focused on what's worked in the past in order to survive. Then you ask, okay, what do you need to do? Who needs to do it? Where do you need to do it? How do you need to do it? When do you do it? Why are you doing it that way? This makes people very defensive. And I think what we do is we have a technique through the experience to tackle these things and bring people together, and that works really well. The challenge that we have is, what about people who have not gone through that experience and we can't even explain what's going on? And if you think about it, there's a view of you know and do, you know who, you know where, you know how and when, but then there's them, there's they. Do they know how? Do they know who? Do they know when? Do they know why? How would we explain any of that? How would we have them experience that? And then others down the road, everybody else, how does that all work? Everybody's going to need to know and do to be on the same page. We create these in the experiences that we have, but a lot of the roadblocks that we have and that I'm experiencing right now in prospects is because of people who did not go through that experience. So how do we help people take the leap? It's like hang gliding. They got to take the leap. How do we get people to take the leap? Is it give them more detail and give them more deliverables and ask them inspection questions or call them idiots? No, you can't do that. We're not going to do that. We're never going to do that. We have to empathize with them. So those are the three things that we can do and what's working. And I wanted to paint a picture of the struggle that I think relates well to our clients as they're driving change. I think we're seeing people that engage with us and we're helping them be successful. But I also wanted to give you a picture of what it feels like or what it could feel like for them as they engage with us to do something. So looking at these questions, why bother? Well, for these fish, it must be done. It's how they survive. Why not find another way? Well, there is no other way. This road was built after their instinct was put in place. For millions of years, perhaps, these fish have been going up the river. That was before this road was built. That's what they're known. That's what they do. What drives the fish? The outcome and the focus on the goal. Who's the salmon? Well, the salmon is the way things have always been done. What's the water? That's the force of going to customer. The idea of going in the flow of a customer. And look at how the hard work is to actually swim against it, because that's what they know. Wouldn't it be easier just to be customer focused and go downstream? But they want to focus on what they've already known and what they've known forever. Why don't just find a new place to spawn? What's the outcome? Well, if you don't go with the flow, with the customer flow of the river, these fish actually get so tired that they die at the end of this journey, because they fight the customer-centric flow so much. They get up to the top and they lay their eggs and they just die. That's how tired they are. It's so much hard work. But you know what? That's what everybody wants to keep doing. Everybody we talk to, there's people inside the company that believe this is the only way to go. That being customer-centric is perhaps too easy. Perhaps it's unnatural to swim with the river. Perhaps it's something that's so different because for hundreds of years or their entire career, they've been fighting upstream and swimming upstream thinking that's progress. How would you get the fish to swim downstream? What would that look like? That's the challenge of going to customer, is how do we help overcome the natural tendencies of people to do what they've always known? How do we do that? Well, this focuses on principle number 1. It's the experience stupid. Where I've seen this really work is when people co-create together and they make decisions together and they're in the foxhole together to turn the tide and go with the flow of the river. That's the experience. And I think that's what Catalyst means when he says, let's focus on the experience here. How do we make the experience come to life in a way that helps people change direction and not fight the river of customer centricity? And what does this have to do with our team? What does this have to do with anything? Well, we all make sense differently. We all have different perspective. Our perspective can be leveraged to obviously create something new, but our perspectives and how we engage and the experiences we create can help people change their natural tendencies and put themselves into a different position to win. That's what it means for them to be heroic. That's what it means for them to be smart, is to stop the insanity and take on the risk of doing something new. And that risk can actually have huge payouts and huge rewards. That's what this means to us as Catalysts and as people involved on the Catalyst Change team. So that's your daily detangler. I hope this was helpful. And also, if you have anything that you're stuck on or you get tangled on, let me know. Detangler out.